So how do you start a journey for which the destination is unknown? Well, you break down that journey into what's known and unknown, even if that means the only known on your list is the simple fact that your business is not operating or the simple fact that your business is struggling as a result of the pandemic. That single known identified by evaluating the state of your business is actually pretty powerful, right? Because it gives you a sense of what the road ahead will look like from here. While we know that everyone in every organization and every company has unique challenges, we have come to realize that everybody is moving through 3 stages to respond to this crisis. Stabilize your organization, reopen your workplace, and eventually grow to become a more digital, a more data-driven organization. We have arrived at phase 3, grow. In response to COVID-19, organizations are accelerating their digital transformation journey to become faster and more relevant to customers, constituents, and others than ever before. Well, everything that is digital generates data, and all that data is nothing if you don't make it actionable, if you don't analyze it and use it to provide better service, better engagement, better training, and better products to customers. Every digital transformation is a data transformation, and COVID-19 has increased the speed in which you need to scale analytics, not only to lead through this change, but to emerge better because of it. Historically, however, scaling analytics has proved to be a difficult thing to do. In 2018, McKinsey surveyed about 1,000 companies on the subject of analytics, finding that 92% were failing to achieve analytics at scale. Now, surely the surveyed companies were experiencing analytical wins here and there in a single department like HR, for example, but 92% were failing to port those wins, to scale those wins from that single department to another or the enterprise as a whole. That begs the question, what do the 8% know that the others do not? Well, a group of people at Tableau set themselves out on a mission to answer this question. They started spending time with some of the most data-driven organizations in the world to deeply understand how it is that they were able to build a data culture and scale analytics throughout their organization. What they found is that at the heart of every successful data culture are 3 core capabilities. The first is all about agility. These organizations had deployed a secure, stable environment that is able to evolve as business needs change, and boy, oh boy, are business needs changing. Second was all about proficiency. People were being educated on how to see and understand data for decision-making, absolutely critical as data becomes more and more important to each and every one of our contributions to the organization. And then third, a community had been established to inspire and celebrate data-driven wins. Finally, all of these capabilities were built on trusted and governed data and processes, striking the right balance between security and data access for exploration. From there, Tableau went a level deeper and asked organizations how they had built these capabilities. Certain plays, certain initiatives emerged that were common to all. We synthesized all of that, the core capabilities and the plays that underpin them, and created a step-by-step guide to help you become a more data-driven organization. That guide is called the Tableau Blueprint, and it's more important than ever before. I mean, think about it. The environment in which we are operating has changed dramatically, from rethinking telework policies to redesigning office floor plans to conducting wellness checks on employees. Things are just different. As I mentioned before, leading through those changes, not just to stabilize and reopen, but also to grow, requires data. That's really exciting, as I'm sure you can tell by the tone of my voice, for data nerds like me, but I get it. Perhaps it's a little terrifying for you because of all the questions that are circulating in your mind. What does modern governance look like? What technologies do I need? How do I build familiarity with those systems, not just amongst admin and IT staff, but amongst the organization as a whole? Who's going to manage all of this? The list goes on and on and on. The Tableau blueprint eliminates the mystery, providing a prescriptive, repeatable, and proven methodology that can guide you as you embark on this journey. Let's walk through it just a little bit. So the beginning of this journey is all about setting a strong vision for analytics, asking the simple question of what it is that I'm trying to achieve through the use of data. That strategy informs everything that happens after that. The second step is where we identify stakeholders, those who will be involved in the effort. This obviously includes everybody, from executive sponsors, IT admins, data architects, and even your consumers. And you also need to go a level deeper and mapping out the role that they will play in this process. From there, we move to the agility track. The first step is to install and configure the software, which seems easier than it actually is. The blueprint provides prescriptive guidance on the best way to build, right-size, and secure your deployment. This gets you started and launched, but you can't stop there. To build agility into your environment, into your tech stack, monitoring is key. Tableau server, and the complete tech stack in which you've gone with must be monitored, including hardware and application metrics, in order to have the information to tune that environment as it changes. From there, we have to think about maintenance, which guides you on how to do load testing, capacity testing, and upgrades, and so on and so forth. Now, like I said previously, organizations, are generating just an unfathomable amount of data with each passing day and need a tech stack that is agile, that can continue to grow with the needs of the business, especially when those needs seemingly change day by day due to uncertainty surrounding this global pandemic. The agility track provides guidance on how to develop that core capability so you're getting out in front of it. The second capability is all about proficiency. This is relatively simple, right? At the end of the day, for an organization to be successful in this age where, the use of data is absolutely paramount, your workforce needs to be data literate. We enable this, we build proficiency amongst the user base by building a solid education plan for employees. Now, we all know that education plans cannot be one size fits all. The degree to which we need to, become data literate is absolutely going to vary based on, your specific job role and how it is that you're expected to use data within your organization. We also know that, people have different learning preferences. Online videos, e-learning, some people prefer live virtual trainings in this day. Whatever the form, a deliberate and dedicated focus on education is an essential part to the success of this stop in the map. Measurement is something that is often overlooked, but is so important. How many people are adopting and engaging with this tech stack? What data are they using? How are they using it? What value have they created it? All of these data points will help your organization optimize Tableau, the data and the content, to make sure it's meeting the needs of the business. And last but not least on this track, analytics best practices. Due to COVID, data is in the spotlight like never before. Analytics has become mainstream in your organization, whether you like it or not. It's important that best practices be set up to help guide the users and how they should be using data. This can include templates, color palettes, and other elements of dashboard design to specific guidelines on calculations or how to interact with the environment. When operating analytics at a massive scale, these best practices help to establish clear guidelines for the organization to follow. The final capability, community, is a little less obvious, but we found that it's the critical differentiator between organizations who are successful and those who are not. In other words, it's kind of like the secret sauce. It begins with internal communication, so a strong intranet maybe, or other communication tools that establish that connection within the community. Then we need to think about engaging our workforce, pulling them together in the spirit of cross-functional learning and collaboration, all in an effort to get people excited about data. I'm talking about stuff like internal user groups, Tableau days, Viz games, all that fun stuff. We've seen that these activities have just a tremendous impact on helping to drive excitement and change behavior around data. And guess what? You don't need to be in a single location to do these kind of things. You can absolutely host this stuff over Zoom, WebEx, or whatever it is that your organization uses. And then lastly is support. I mean, you need to establish strong support environments that allow the organization to keep the environment humming along and get blockers out of the way as soon as possible. Again, a strong plan around each of these elements, communications, engagement, and support, will help you, build a strong data community within your organization. Over the past few months, I just want to say I've seen, a number of organizations connect their employees with one another in a way that, they never have done so before via Slack, via Teams, and other platforms. And I think that's a good thing in general, but a really powerful thing as it relates to becoming a more data-driven organization. By bringing together, all of your workforce into one digital place, you've created a forum for people to share tips and tricks, to engage with one another, to answer common questions, or even showcase the art of the possible. That's really great stuff, and I really do appreciate, all of those organizations who are thinking through how to carry it forward so that way they emerge from this crisis better than they went into it. Lastly, underpinning all of these core capabilities on the Tableau blueprint is a deliberate and ongoing conversation around governance. I mean, think about it. The COVID-19 data sphere is absolutely massive, and that's a good thing because you need data to lead through this change. But governance needs to be top of mind to ensure the accuracy of the data and the content that is being used to drive those decisions within your workforce. Now, there's some really great blueprint stories out there, but in the interest of time, I'm going to highlight just one that's near and dear to my heart. The World Food Program has an incredible mission. They provide food assistance to 91 million people across 83 countries. They used the Tableau blueprint as a guide for strategy, building capabilities that enabled their globally distributed workforce to accomplish their mission more efficiently, more effectively, more impactfully through the use of data. Well, fast forward a bit, and here we find ourselves in the middle of a global pandemic. Countries around the world are attempting to contain and mitigate the effects of COVID-19, but these measures have really disrupted many essential activities and services that impact children around the world. Take, for example, food. Through the WFP's School Meals Program, the agency delivers daily meals to over 16 million kids in more than 60 countries. Well, when COVID hit, they knew the pandemic would pose a challenge to their programs. Schools would be closed or converted into makeshift field hospitals, and as a result of all of that, school children would lose access to food overall, in many cases, their only source of sustenance for the day. Well, building on the capabilities that the WFP further developed through our Blueprint partnership, this team is using data to better understand the magnitude of the problem and make data-driven decisions on how to move forward. As I mentioned, as we emerge from this crisis and start to grow, we see organizations accelerating their digital transformation journey and their data transformation journeys to become faster and more relevant to customers than ever before. Starbucks, as an example, modified its operations to drive-through, delivery, mobile order, and contactless pickup or entryway handoff only store by store. And Zillow uses Tableau to ramp up their research center and their blog to help customers track COVID's impact on the housing market and helped their customers decide when to sell or buy with the relevant information. I do want to quickly point out that, companies are going through these phases at different rates, and your company will most likely have its own pace. In fact, sometimes you'll even find that, different teams or departments within your company are at different stages. On top of that, it's not uncommon to take a step back, as it were, to move from stabilize to reopen, just to move back to stabilize once again. But I will say that with each step forward, we build resiliency, we build capabilities that make us more prepared for the bumps that will inevitably pop up in the road ahead.